the most fun you can have talking sports with Lock and Wiley, LeVar Arrington, and B.J. Armstrong. Time to get antisocial. BJ, I think this is your first time getting antisocial.
Yes.
Buckle your seat.
Welcome.
Darnell Smith, our social media man.
You ain't flex on him, though.
You want me to flex?
Come on, you got to flex on him.
That's me and Jim Jackson. We come out with our own.
We're going to come up with something new. We're going to come up with something.
Figure out in the break.
Go ahead, Darnell. What's poppin'?
All right, we're going to start with the NFL. Well, like you mentioned, we know Jalen Ramsey ripped almost every QB in the league last year. Well, this year, he decided to make a grand entrance into training camp. And it looks like he has his mindset on the money. Take a listen.
Y'all know what time it is. This man covered so good, he finna have his own cell phone service. The man's so good, they finna give him his own jail called Jalen County, because these receivers are on 24-hour lockdown. If you check his pockets, he got 8 master locks in his pockets. They are on lockdown all season. The man, the myth, Jalen Ramsey.
Y'all know what it is.
Work, man. Yeah, that's him.
I know what it is.
It's time to get this money.
Shout out to my guy, Ha Davis. I'm sure Tom Coughlin hated this, but
Oh, man.
I think it was a good look for Ramsey.
Let me be the... No, I'm not going to be the wet blanket. I'm going to let y'all go first, then I'm going to be the wet blanket.
Good, let me be the wet blanket. No, that ain't a good look. I will say I loved it, but I've learned from all my negotiations to never introduce ego into the negotiation. And when you do something like this, that ownership's ego is like, oh, you trying to force money out of me? Are you trying to get the court of public opinion against me for your money? And it looks like you got money in that truck already.
You already got enough in the brinks. Come on now.
What's in them bags?
Never enough money.
Not a good move. Not a good move.
I tell you what, I thought, he's part of the money team. I didn't know if Mayweather was there, but certainly the entertainment value was funny.
Yeah.
I don't know how well that's going to play out when it comes time for him to sit down with, management and figure out
You're
how
an
he's going to
agent.
negotiate.
You know how it's going to play out.
It's one of those things. It's funny now, but then you're going, can we get rid of that?
Laughing out, cry later.
If they show him walking, you see in his face, he was thinking like, I kind of thought it was going to play out a little differently than this, but did I do the right thing? Listen, the answer is no, because it's a contract negotiation time. If there was no contract, you'd be fine, right? But the reality of it is, if he gets what he's looking for after pulling this, then that organization has to look at him as saying every single time he wants something that he wants, he's going to do what he thinks he needs to do to get it, and we can't set that example.
You know what's funny? Let me just say this. I heard this from comedians. They say a joke is not funny if it's a bullseye. That means you can't call the real fat person fat. You got to call kind of like people who were struggling with weight fat. But if you really fat and you call them fat, ain't nobody laughing at that. You really got a contract coming up.
Right.
Don't be joking about that.
You hit that bullseye.
You hit that bullseye. It ain't funny, bro.
Going out the water.
Moving on to the boxing ring. In the last 24 hours, fans are getting excited about a possible Mayweather-Pacquiao rematch after the two started beefing back and forth online. But I wanted to focus on Floyd's IG post here. He had a lot to say about the media attaching his name to Pacquiao, and then went on to say, y'all are just upset that I broke Rocky Marciano's record and hate the fact that a black high school dropout outsmarted you all by beating all the odds. Ultimately, I will always have the last laugh. Guys, is there any truth to this?
I don't know how he got here, because I think all the hype is just like, people actually would like to see Floyd and Manny again. I don't know if there's any racial animus directed towards Floyd. I don't know how he got to, I don't.
It's on a small scale, but it is. But look, he got 5 trillion likes and 300 people saying, hey, man, you black, and all that stuff. And he responds to the minority. I will say this about Mayweather. There is some envy for him in that sport because he gets hit less and he gets paid more. And everybody, they hate that equation, but that's
But a lot of the envy is from black boxers. You ever talk to black boxers? It's like, man, he ducked everybody.
And he got more money than all the boxers that's talking about.
I ain't mad at Mayweather. I love him. Smart.
I'll say this. It's more nationalism than it is racism, if you ask me. I think he's misconstruing what he's feeling. Racism is always there, right? What he's talking about, that's always there. But we were at the fight. Boxing, it may be the only sport that I've ever been a part of in a live spectacle where you can have straight lines drawn in the sand, no cut cards, no chaser, no nothing.
Yeah.
Pacquiao Pride of the Philippines. Are you a Filipino? Yes! Canelo, are you from Mexico? Yes! What about Floyd? No!
Right.
It's the only sport
Soccer.
I've ever
They
seen.
do it in soccer.
Well, okay, I've never been to a big
European
soccer.
soccer.
There you go.
Well, you know, money he's genius. He's really great at kind of like promoting himself. And what he's doing is he's drawing a line. We have the good guy, Manny, and then there's Mayweather. And he's promoting himself, getting up interest. And you know what? I give him credit. He is always figuring out how to build interest in his fights, and he knows what that would be for him on payday if
This is
they go.
probably a clue that we're going to see the fight.
It's the biggest fight of the decade.
Either love
easily.
me or love to hate me. Either way, pay for it.
Pay me.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go to the question of the day. Darnell, take it away.
It's Darnell.
That's my guy. My guy.
My question of the day. All right, guys, so a story started trending online this week that after earning $100 million throughout his career, Adrian Peterson is deep into debt after what his lawyer says is yet another situation of an athlete trusting the wrong people. I want to ask you guys, why does this seem to happen so often with athletes?
Wow.
You want me to jump on it?
Go get it.
I just did a letter in the Players Tribune about a letter to my younger self. A lot of times athletes are tagged and deemed as being stupid, irresponsible with their money. A lot of adjectives to explain them. It really is a lack of experience. And that's what I think. I think guys are smart. They make decisions, but I'll give you a great story. The Tisch family and the Mira family, they own the New York Giants, one of the most successful franchises in all of sports. Their grandchildren are locker player porters. They make sure that your spikes are organized, your helmet is on where it's supposed to be, everything is in its proper place. They take care of it. You pay them to do it. They are teaching those young men for the next 15, 20 years how it is you're supposed to run an organization from the bottom up, not the top down, from the bottom up. I think the problem that we run into as athletes is that we are not experienced enough to be jumping into these investments that we're jumping into. My name is this. I'm famous. I'm popular. It's going to work. No. Put your money in. Your best investment, your best stock is you when you're in the league. That's the best stock. If you need a return on making 13, 14 million, 15 million a year, then you're in the wrong business. You're in the wrong business. Take the time to let your investment, you playing the game, be your investment. When you're done playing the game, when you're done, then get the experience. Invest instead of $5 million in that real estate deal that they say all these other guys are in it. Go invest $500,000, $250 and get the education to learn purely and solely how it works. Where do I go? Who do I align with? What is the process and protocol of this? The biggest issue is we take 15, 16, 18 years to make money playing the game we love, and we learn it all the way up and through. And once we go pro, we think that process stops. And I think that's the biggest misconception is it's not dumb, it's just inexperienced.
Look, there's a responsibility to the players, there's a responsibility to those they trust, and the due diligence. That's not my primary concerns. Two things I want players to understand and I want the public to know. One, players, you make very immature decisions. I was guilty. I'm talking about the cars, houses. I'm talking about the investments, plural. And then you talk about some of the other stuff that comes from it, the kids, divorce, a lot of you guys. And then for the public's consumption, understand that the average millionaire in the United States is 57 years old. You know how much life you've lived to understand the value of a dollar? And then it's not 20, it's not 25, it's not 30 for a reason. You have to learn to climb up that mountain. But when you get helicoptered there, and you get an inordinate amount of money, you think you did the climbing. And you make decisions like someone who really didn't have that experience.
Indeed.
It's unfortunate, it's gas meeting fire in your 20s with that much money.
And working with these young kids, the one thing that I always try to stress to them, which is really, really difficult, and we all have to learn as former athletes, is the word no.
No is the word.
No, this is going to go sideways until you actually learn and have the discipline to say no. And I encourage every player to understand what that word and the power of that word. So no is something that we all have to come to grips with.
Painful word.
It's a painful word. You got to say no to your family. You got to say no to your friends. You got to say no to all of these things. And until you understand the power of that word, you're going to continue to hear stories like this. And it's a sad story, but it's a true story. And we all have to go through it. And hopefully you'll learn that lesson sooner rather than later.
I don't have time to unpack this fully, but I've been trying to explain to people the number one business decision a man or a woman is going to make is who they partner with in a marriage. That's a business decision that will set the foundation for every other business decision you make the rest of your life. Adrian Peterson has 6 kids, I think 6 baby mamas. You know how expensive that is? You know how many bad business decisions that is? And so when he took people you didn't trust, you got 6 baby mamas, according to what I read this morning. That's expensive as hell. He's supposed to be broke. I don't care how much money you make. You're supposed to be broke if you've been that irresponsible in the primary business decision that you make, who you partner with. Coming up, look who's officially in L.A. The Clippers just introduced Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Marcellus is about to lose his mind.
I'm right there behind PG.